Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of um, the Ultimate UI series, and today we'll be talking about text and buttons. So, in my scene right now, I already have a canvas and a text. This is super simple to create. You just go right click on the hierarchy, UI, and then text. You see I just created another text, and it's right here. It says new text. So, over here, it says coding is cool. You can change this to in the text box in the inspector. I can say coding is not cool. And since that's not true, I'm going to change it back to coding is cool. Okay, so now let's go over exactly what we can use in the text, in the inspector for the text, and what we can change for the text. Okay, now let's go over the other functions we can change. So here's a font function. We can change this to whatever we like, but you do have to import it from your own file explorer. Almost any file you download online will work. Okay, I've just imported a font called Luckiest Guy. I'm going to drag it in, and you can see that the font changed. It looks much more cartoony, and I think that looks nice. Um, Next, we have font size, which obviously changes the size of the font. We got 20, 35, but the bigger it is, if your box here can't contain it, it won't show all of it. So what you can do is you can take the best fit, and that automatically um, scales the text to your text box. You can change the min size and max size. So if I change it to 10, um, then okay, well it won't let me change to 10, but the lower it is, the max size is, the less it can grow bigger. If I move the text box or scale the text box with the rect tool, you can see if I change it to like 100, it'll scale right back. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So we got next font style. We can make it bold. We can make it italic. This doesn't really matter, but something to know. We got alignment, so we can align it, center it. We can center it to the right, to the left, to the middle, and to the bottom. I'm gonna put it in the middle and the center. So next we got align by geometry, which is just basically helping you do this. Um, Next we got horizontal overflow. So here's overflow, which is just like making it bigger than the text box. And here's wrap, which is just making it the same, like relative within the text box. So here we got vertical overflow, which is basically the same thing. Um, and we got color. So we can change this to whatever color we want. I'm going to change this to a white color. And nice. Okay, so we got um, coding is cool in big, bold, nice fonts and white color. And now we can also change the material. I won't go into too deep into that, but this is basically what it is. You can basically just change the material of your text, and I'm just gonna change it back to default font material. And raycast target is basically um, if you can click on it in game. So if you take this off, and there's a button component on it, I won't be able to click it. Um, and there's maskable, which is basically if you can mask it with a UI mask, which I won't go into in this video. Okay, so next things next, we're gonna add a button to this. So add component button, and now if we go into the game and I click on it, its color is going to slightly change, but nothing's going to happen because we haven't coded what's supposed to be in our button yet. So you can see there's button, there's interact mode, which is basically how if you can interact with it. If I play now, I click it, there's no color change, and it's grayed out. That's because the button is technically disabled, which you can see here, the disabled color is gray. So we're going to take on interactable because we want the button to be able to do something. We're going to turn transition to none, navigation to none, and those are pretty complicated things that you don't need to know about yet. But basically, I guess I'll explain a bit. The target graphic is basically which graphic is going to change when you click on it. Normal color is basically its normal color, I guess. Highlighted color is basically the color it changes into when you highlight it. Press color is what it changes into when you press it. And selected color is what happens after you select the button. And color multiplier is basically how much your color appears. And fade duration is basically how long it takes before your color returns to the normal color or whatever other color you have. Navigation, I turned it to none because frankly, it's useless. And now we're gonna create a script. So create C# script, and we're gonna code this text to do something. So we're gonna say button script. Okay. So now let's enter the script, and we're going to basically see about how we're gonna do this. So there are many different ways you can play with text. You can change its text value, obviously. You can change its size. You can change its color. But today we're just going to change its text value. So we're going to say before we do anything, when we're working with UI, we always have to import using Unity engine.ui. That's very important. Okay, so next, we're going to create a script. So first we need to reference the sorry. So first we need to reference the text. So we're going to say public text, and this is just basically us referencing the text that we created. And now we're going to say public void on button press. So you don't have to name it on button press. The function can be named whatever you want, but I'm just going to call on button press. So now if we go back into Unity, we can go to the text and we can see that on click, we press the plus button. We also have to create an empty to store a script in. I'm going to call it button. Actually, no, I'm going to call it button manager. And you can see we stored a script in here, and we can see we have an empty text. So we're going to drag text in there. Anyways, you see here on click, there's an empty object. So we're going to drag the button manager in there. Click down the drop down, button script, and we're going to press on button press. So currently, it doesn't do anything yet, but we can make it print a statement. We can say print coding is super cool. Okay, cool. So now we press play and we press the button. You're gonna see in the inspector, coding is super cool, got printed. And we press it again. And we press it again. Coding is super cool 3 times. Press 5 times. Okay, cool. So now we know that the button works. So let's change this text value into something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, instead of print, we're going to delete this line, and we're going to say text.text is equal to coding is very cool. So basically what we said here is we said that when we press the button, the text is going to change to coding is very cool. Whenever you want to type something or display something that isn't a set variable, you have to use quotation marks. So when we go to play now, and we press the button, it's going to change it to coding is very cool. And we press it again, it's still going to be coding is very cool because it doesn't change. So next we're going to say, we can say something like, well, public string display text. So a string is basically a bunch of letters, anything you want, really. And instead of inputting this variable, we can say display text. And now if we go back into the inspector, we can see we have an empty text, display text place where we can input text. So we're gonna say coding is awesome. And now instead of displaying coding is very cool, we're gonna see coding is awesome. Yeah, so I can exit maximize play again, click on it, coding is awesome. I can change this into coding is super awesome, and click on it and it changes into coding is super awesome. So you can change this value during runtime and also have it as like, you know, a variable or a set string. So what if you want to deal with numbers? Well, let's change this into an integer. And we're gonna say 4. But wait, there's an error because you can't convert an integer to a string. So what do we do? Well, there's a couple of ways, but the most easy way is just write dot to string. Pretty self-explanatory, just changes a number into a string. So now when we press play, we should see that when we press the button, 0. Well, because display text is set to 0, but we can make it like 7, yeah, 123, whatever you like. And now, great. So we've set this up. Let's actually make this a random variable. So we can say it's equal to random.range 0 to 100 .toString. And we can just delete that. Okay, so now it's going to display a random number between 0 and 100 every time we press on it. So 19, 80, 97, 25, 39. All pretty random, all within 0 and 100. Okay, so, but you might notice that it doesn't actually display anything at the start. It just says coding is cool. So the way we can change that is we can just make another function, void start, and just copy this here. All right, now let's go back to Unity, and we'll see that when we press play, it shows a random number on start. Wow, we've finished basically what buttons are, what texts are. But now there's another component of Unity that we haven't explored yet, and that is basically Text Mesh Pro. And to do that, we have to import TMP and extensions. I'll just take a moment. Okay, cool. It has been imported. You don't need the extras. And now you can see we have a Text Mesh Pro component here. And we can see it says new text. So a couple of things are different. Best fit is also called auto size now, and auto size options, and here font settings. You can't actually just import any font you want. Now you have to create a Text Mesh Pro font, and to create one you have to go into Windows, Text Mesh Pro, font asset creator, insert your own font and create it. But for now we're not going to create a new font. So let's change this to I love coding so much. But you can see if I scale it down, it'll overlap with the box, which is weird because auto size can't make the font size less than 18. So if you want to make it less than 18, you have to manually do it. But yeah, we're gonna make it pretty big, so that's okay. Okay, now we can make it centered, and we can say overflow, which is basically the same thing still, wrapping, enabled, disabled, same thing. And yeah, here's the fun part though. There's face. You can change the face to red. Alright, so let's just say we change it to white. We can also turn up the softness, which just kind of blurs it. So the good thing about Text Mesh Pro is that it's always going to be crisp text. Dilate, which is basically just kind of like making the text thinner and thicker. So let's make it a bit thicker. And here's the outline. So we can tick it on, and you can see that there's an outline coming in, which is super cool. So yeah, we're just gonna have this underlay. You don't really need to worry about. I'll make an underlay with you guys. It's just gonna be basically, this is basically just like a kind of like shadow thing. And now, great. Let's go back in our script, and you'll see that we have a few things we need to fix. If we press play now, first of all, we don't have a button, so nothing will happen now. And second, it says no reference exception. This is because this text is no longer text. It's a Text Mesh Pro. So we're gonna have to say, instead of using Unity Engine UI, we're gonna have to say using Unity Engine. No, using TM Pro. So we're gonna have to say public text Mesh Pro UGUI. Okay, and now we're just gonna say, yeah, text.text, everything should be fine. And but now we also have to import a button component, remember, because text doesn't come with button components regularly. So now as a button component, it's interactable, its color tint is great, and now let's create an on-click function, drag the button manager in there, button script, on button press. Now let's press play. Oh, we got an error. Well, that is because we haven't actually set the Text Mesh Pro. So now if we press play now, you can see 94, 88, 48, 80, 78, 6, all between 0 and 100. So what's a good thing about text and Text Mesh Pro? Well, Text Mesh Pro stays crisp. So it is easier to drag it into heads-up displays such as enemy health bars or something like that nature, or pick up text or whatever you want in your game. But text won't stay as crisp, and I'll show you what I mean right now. I'll delete this UI text, and basically you'll see, I'm going to change this to white so it's more clearly seen, that if I scale it down and make it like size 1, it's horribly unrecognizable. You can't see what it's saying. So that's why you don't want to use text for like heads-up display or small certain text cases. But then you might ask, why do we use text at all? Why can't we just use Text Mesh Pro? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, fonts are harder to um, customize, and another is that, well, if you don't want to import Text Mesh Pro, then this is a good starting point for you. And frankly, Text Mesh Pro is just really hard to customize for beginners, and text is going to be much easier for you. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me in this tutorial. Hope you guys subscribe and like, and hit that bell notification icon. I'll see you next episode.